Okay, let's dive right into this. If you're gearing up for the Telangana State LAWCET, I know it can feel like a huge mountain to climb, but what if I told you there's a clear, simple blueprint for success? Well, that's exactly what we're going to build together in the next 5 minutes.
And yeah, I get it. You look at that massive syllabus, you think about the competition, and the pressure just starts to pile on. It's a ton of information, and it's so easy to feel lost before you even start. But hey, don't sweat it. We're about to turn all that anxiety into a super focused action plan.
First step, let's just break down the numbers, okay? You've got 120 questions standing between you and getting into law school. But think of it this way. It's not one giant, scary leap. It's just 120 small, manageable steps you take one at a time.
And here's the real kicker. You only have 90 minutes to tackle all of them. Do the math. That's just 45 seconds per question. So you see, this isn't just a test of what you know, it's a test of your speed, your accuracy, and your strategy. So what's the game plan? Here's our roadmap. We'll start by cracking the exam blueprint itself. Then we'll break down each part of the test, what I call the foundation, the score booster, and the all-important deciding factor, before we wrap up with your winning strategy. First things first, we have to understand the rules of the game. You know, every exam has a pattern, a kind of hidden blueprint. Once you see it, you're not just studying anymore. You're strategizing. You're playing chess.
Okay, so look at this table. 120 questions, 120 marks, 90 minutes. Yeah, that screams speed. But the real golden ticket here is that last row. No negative marking. This is huge. And what does it mean for you? It means you answer every single question. No excuses. Even if you have to make a wild guess, you take a shot. Never, ever leave an answer blank.
All right, let's dig into that blueprint, starting with Part A. I call this the foundation because, well, a strong performance here sets you up for a fantastic overall score. It's worth 30 marks, and with some smart targeted prep, you can lock most of them down. So Part A is kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. You've got general knowledge, which tests your broad awareness of the world, and then you have mental ability, which tests just how sharp and logical your thinking is. It's a mix of what you know and how well you can think on your feet. Listen, here's the secret sauce for GK. Don't try to study everything equally. You've got to focus your energy. Look at that high priority column. That's your home base. Political science, especially the Constitution, the Indian freedom movement, and state-specific stuff for Telangana and AP. That's where the real marks are. Give the other topics a quick review, sure, but don't get stuck there. Now, for mental ability, this is where you can scoop up some seriously easy marks. I'm not kidding. The questions on topics like directions, number series, and coding decoding are pretty much the same, year after year. Seriously, if you practice these until they're second nature, you're basically banking free points. All right, moving on to Part B, current affairs. This is your score booster. Get your strategy right here, and you can add a solid 30 marks to your total, which is what's going to separate you from the rest of the pack. And here is the single most important strategy for this section, so listen up. Your focus needs to be a laser beam on news from the last 6 to 12 months before the exam. That's it. Anything older than that, just let it go. It's highly unlikely to pop up, and it's not worth your precious time. So within that time frame, what are you looking for? Well, remember, this is a law entrance exam, so of course, legal and constitutional news is absolutely key. You'll also want to pay close attention to major appointments, big government schemes, especially the state-level ones, and major awards. And now, we arrive at the beast, Part C. This isn't just another section, it's the deciding factor. With roughly 60 marks up for grabs, this section alone pretty much determines your final rank. No pressure, right? I mean, you don't even need me to explain it. This chart tells you everything. Part C is worth as much as Part A and Part B put together. This is where you have to concentrate the bulk of your effort. Your performance right here is what's going to make or break your result. So how do you crack it? Well, the most common question type is this principle fact thing. And honestly, it sounds way more complicated than it is. Here's the breakdown. They give you a legal rule, that's the principle. Then they give you a short story, those are the facts. Your only job is to apply that rule to that story and choose the right outcome. You don't need to be a legal scholar, you just need to be a logical thinker. For the Constitution part of this section, please do not try to memorize the entire book. Instead, just focus on this core checklist. You absolutely must know your fundamental rights inside and out, especially Articles 14, 19, and 21. Understand the powers of the president and prime minister, and get familiar with the different types of writs. These topics are the absolute heart of the Constitution section.
Okay, so we've taken the whole exam apart, piece by piece. Now let's put it all back together into your winning strategy. This is how we turn all that knowledge we've talked about into actual marks on exam day. And here it is, your 3-step plan. It's this simple. First, solve as many past papers as you can get your hands on. You need to see the real patterns for yourself. Second, make practice a daily habit, like brushing your teeth, especially for reasoning and legal aptitude. And third, revise. Then revise again. Aim to go over your GK and Constitution notes at least 3 times.
But at the end of the day, the best strategy in the world is useless without action. It's like Mark Twain said, the secret to getting ahead is getting started. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Start your focused, strategic preparation today, right now.
So there you have it. You've got the blueprint. You know where to focus, what to prioritize, and how to practice. The path forward is crystal clear. So the only question left is the one you have to answer for yourself. Are you ready to build your future in law?